I'm so excited to be doing today's video because it is all about Colourpop. I'm just a newfound hardcore fan of Colourpop.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's video, I wanted to talk about makeup products that outlasted their viral moments. So these are makeup products that went viral on the internet, that went viral on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or all three platforms, which is hard to do. They were beloved by the beauty community, but like so many products that go viral and have their moment in the spotlight and then kind of drop off, these are the products that have continued to stay in the spotlight, that people have continued to love. We continue to see used in favorites videos. And I also asked my members here on YouTube what products they thought outlasted their viral moments, and I got a lot of good input from you. So let's jump into it. Alrighty, I will have all of these linked in my description box and also in the YouTube shopping button right here. This is one that I saw from my members. Huge shout out to my members for helping me with these videos. But one of the first comments I saw, the Laneige lip sleeping masks. I have used the Laneige lip sleeping masks for, I'm gonna guess like 6 years, 7 years, somewhere in that ballpark. I think the first one that I ever bought was just like the regular one, and then I've always loved around like holiday time, sometimes around summertime, they come out with limited edition scents. This one is the pink lemonade. I have had this one for a hot minute. I mean, you can see it is half gone. It is half gone. I've used it a lot, but these are giant little jars here, 0.7 ounces or 20 grams of a lip sleeping mask. I recommend these all of the time. I want to say I continually repurchase them because it's true, I do. But there was also a point, especially when I started to focus in on my low buy and not purchase products until I actually needed to repurchase them, that I finally started to cut down. I used to buy the sets of the Laneige lip sleeping mask, like around holiday time. They would come with sets of 3. They would have minis. I especially loved buying the minis because they're very easy to like throw into your travel bag. And then I was like, Samantha, the regular size ones can last for so long, but these I think have definitely outlasted their viral moments. I still hear people talking about them all the time. Every time lip masks are mentioned, I hear someone recommending this. And one of the comments that came in from my members I thought was a really interesting perspective. She said, this is a hard one because it's hard to remember what went viral for normal people versus what all of us makeup lovers heard about because we watch YouTube. And that is always a good reminder. It's something I always try to think of when I'm doing my videos, is that, you know, especially if you're watching, you probably really enjoy beauty YouTube videos, consuming beauty content, but there's also a lot of people who wear makeup, purchase beauty products that don't watch the online community. And sometimes those can be very different in product purchases and product loves. But I feel as though people who I know who aren't big consumers of online beauty content still love the Laneige sleeping mask as well. Which brings me to another question, is I wonder sometimes how, if people aren't watching beauty content online, like how they're getting their recommendations, right? Like, are they going into a Sephora and they're being recommended something? Because for me, I truly get all my recommendations online, right? And so I'm like, do they go into a Sephora or an Ulta and they're being recommended something? Maybe a friend said something to them. These are the questions that pop into my mind. So when I was thinking of this video, I believe one of the products that I was mentioning was the Lawless Beauty glosses. And when I asked my members for their input, I said, you know, for example, I think the Lawless Beauty glosses got a lot of hype in the beginning and a lot of traction, but they have consistently stayed popular with the online beauty community. So from Lawless, this is the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss. And I feel as though Lawless was a brand that was a little bit under the radar for a while. I think they first came out with liquid lipsticks during the liquid lipstick craze, right? I remember purchasing the shade George and I loved it so much. And then the brand slowly released more products. And because I loved liquid lipsticks and I would buy so many and try so many to review them for my channel, I bought the ones from Lawless and I was like, wait a second, I really love these. And then the brand slowly started to come out with new releases and I was like, oh, I'm intrigued by this brand because they're not overwhelming us. They're not throwing huge collections at us all of the time. And it took a couple of years, I believe. But when they did launch these glosses, I immediately was a fan because I do think that they are a plumping gloss, but they don't feel plumping. And I know not everyone agrees with me, and that is okay. But for example, today I put on the Morphe Hot Honey's lip oil, and this to me is so tingly. Like, my lips are like, And I just don't love that feeling. I know a lot of people don't mind it. They can handle it. For me, I'm a baby. I'm like, oh, no, not the plumping lips. Like, let me just get another tattoo instead, but not plumping lips. But the ones from Lawless, I still feel like give the plumping effect without that painful feeling. So this is why I have recommended the glosses since they came out. And like I said, I hear a lot of people talk about them. I see them in empties videos a lot. I see them in favorites videos a lot. And Lawless, I believe, really saw that, and they slowly started to expand their initial shades that they came out with. And then they have some with a more shimmery finish. They have some with just the more like regular glossy finish. They recently just came out with 3 new glosses under their like strawberry collection. The one that I've been using is in Strawberry Shortcake, is this one. But I definitely feel like these outlasted their viral moment. One product I saw getting mentioned as well is the Colourpop Super Shock Shadows, and this does not surprise me at all. The Colourpop Super Shocks, is this the first product that Colourpop came out with? They just celebrated one of their birthdays, and I was watching a video, and I want to say it was the Super Shocks, because they came out with these and they were $5. $5 for an eyeshadow. They were, you know, a small brand out of California that just like popped up one day. I believe it was started by siblings, and they were selling these $5 eyeshadows and everyone was going crazy about it. And I say everyone, I mean the online beauty community once again. But Colourpop slowly became a brand that I started to see more and more people in the offline community, I guess, start to talk about Colourpop. And I do think Colourpop was one of those initial brands that saw a lot of success thanks to the rise of beauty influencers.
Today we are live swatching the highly anticipated Kathleen Lights and Colourpop Zodiac collection.
My thoughts on the Kathleen Lights times Colourpop Dream Street collection, then just keep watching.
You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, that's okay. But I do feel as though a lot of Colourpop's success, and also brands like Morphe, I feel as though there was definitely a time around 2014, 15, 16, maybe 2017, where brands were finding this initial buzz because of social media influencers. When I think of Colourpop, my mind goes to Kathleen Lights.
It has been so requested to do this type of video ever since I launched the So Jaded palette. One of my all-time favorite YouTubers just released yet another collaboration with the brand. You guys all probably know Kathleen Lights.
We're going to be going over the new Kathleen Lights and Colourpop collab that they did. So she came out with 3 lippies and then also an eyeliner, which really excited me because I'm such an eyeliner junkie.
She was someone who went on to do collaborations with Colourpop Cosmetics, but for a while it was like that is who I would kind of correlate the brand with, was Kathleen Lights. And I would get excited when she would do lip swatching videos. I had a huge collection of Colourpop Super Shock Shadows at one point. I still have, I mean, I do have a more minimal collection right now for being a beauty influencer. But these to me have stayed a like tried and true like solid product that Colourpop comes out with. And around the time of their birthday every year, they come out with special shades. You know, when they come out with their launches, like they just recently launched the Tangled collection, but sometimes with their launches they have different super shocks that you know relate to that collection and that sort of thing. But curious to get your thoughts on what other brands you think kind of found some of that success thanks to the rise of social media and also social media influencers. Summer Friday lip balms. This was one of the first comments that came in, and I was not at all surprised to see this. To me, I feel like everyone talks about the Summer Friday lip balms.
Need that. I need it. Definitely need that.
So everything she puts on, it just becomes cool right away.
Cake batter. Everyone has been talking about this being the best shade, and I can see why.
I feel like I can't go online without seeing someone like applying it. You know, these days it's very popular to make videos where you're just kind of chatting, talking to the camera, but you're doing something else at the same time, like applying lip gloss. I see these videos pop up for me on TikTok all of the time. I'm not even kidding, like 7 out of 10 times it's the Summer Friday lip balms that are being put on. Now I feel very shameful to admit this. Maybe we can still be friends after this. It's okay if we can't. But I actually don't love the Summer Fridays lip balms. And I feel like that is such an unpopular opinion. And I wish that I liked them. I bought it myself. I think Brown Sugar, I believe is the shade that I bought. And I think that it's fine. I think for me, I've just noticed I don't particularly love lip balms because I bought the one from Ulla Henriksen. I've tried the ones from Naturium, and I'm just like, these are okay. They're not bad, but they're not my favorite. I either prefer like a lip gloss or a lip oil. Like something about that lip balm is just not my favorite thing. but that's okay. So to each their own. But I definitely do think the Summer Friday lip balms are so popular. I remember one day I was in Sephora and I was near the Summer Friday section because I was swatching their new lip oils that came out for a video. 3 people during the time that I was there, which wasn't very long. I try to be pretty quick if I'm, you know, doing something like that. 3 different people came in and said, I'm looking for the Summer Fridays lip balm. And the employees were taking them over to the section. I was like, okay, Summer Fridays. The Natasha Denona concealer. I love this product. And this one is like remaking its rounds in what I think is virality because it just got added to TikTok Shop, which whether you like TikTok or you don't like TikTok, TikTok Shop is a big seller for a lot of brands. When I saw Natasha Denona go over to TikTok Shop, I was like, okay then. But her concealer I think is fantastic. I bought this right when it came out. It's been a favorite of mine. I am scraping at the sides of this, but I'm refusing to let it go. This is a very lightweight serum concealer. I think it's so easy to blend out. I think it looks so good on the under eyes. I use it to spot conceal around my face. Like, this has been a holy grail concealer of mine since it came out. And again, like I said, I feel like it was very popular when it came out, but I continued to see it talked about. I continued to see it used. And now I feel like it's having another surge again. And I do think that it's for a good reason. I am gonna be shook the day that I finish this because it's very rare for me to go through an entire concealer. But this one and the Tower 28 right now are like head to head of like which one I'm gonna finish first. I think both of them are fantastic. If you are interested in shopping Natasha Denona, I do have a discount code on the website, and that is Samantha March. Let's kick it back a little bit old school and talk about MAC Fix Plus. The MAC Fix Plus, this is a product that I bought for the first time, I want to say around 2014. The very first YouTuber I ever started watching, I love doing videos like this, talking about like old school YouTube, it makes me so happy. But the first YouTuber that I ever started watching was Carly Bible, and she was a MAC girl. I bought the vanilla pigment. I had no idea how to use an eyeshadow pigment, but she used this vanilla eyeshadow pigment and she would wet her brush with the Fix Plus first, and then she would apply the pigment. I honestly want to thank Carly Bible. Carly, if you're watching this, I want to thank Carly Bible because she is the one who taught me when applying shadows like that, and if you want to make them pop more, to spray your brush with a setting spray. Not everyone learned a lot of makeup tricks from YouTube and the online beauty community. I don't want to name any names, but I have a close personal friend of mine who would spit on her makeup brushes before applying shadows, like a MAC vanilla pigment or, you know, just an eyeshadow from a palette. And I was like, the first time she ever did it, we were actually filming a YouTube video together.
Do you feel like you're gonna get a disease because like it's probably super unhealthy? Your tongue is black. Yeah, I keep licking it. But you have to get it wet. You gotta get it wet. You gotta get it wet first.
And she did it, and I was like, what did you just do? And she was like, well, that's how I get my brush wet. I was like, have you heard of setting spray? Why did you do that? So that was quite a moment. That was quite a moment. We still talk about it to this day, and I think we filmed that video like 3 years ago. It still gets brought up, it still gets mentioned. So thank you so much to Carly, because when I thought about it, I was like, well, oh, you gotta get it wet somehow. But that is where I learned how to use MAC Fix Plus. And then this has just been a favorite of mine for years, and it's one that I've continued to keep in my collection. Now, these days, I honestly don't use finishing sprays or setting sprays a ton, but I still always have some in my collection, and I typically always have MAC Fix Plus. I like to purchase these if I need to repurchase. I'll purchase them during like the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, because this has been typically included in the sale the last several years. But to me, this one had viral moments way back, you know, 10, 11, 12 years ago. And to me, I think that it's still pretty popular. But another setting spray that I saw mentioned a lot from my members, and that I do think has continued to outlast its viral moments, is from One Size. This is the On Till Dawn Mattifying Waterproof Setting Spray. I bought a little mini in a recent Sephora sale, I'm pretty sure it was. But this is one, when it came out, I remember watching people making videos like spraying their face with this and then like jumping in a pool, spraying themselves with a water hose, dumping a bucket of water over their head, and then being like, look, my makeup stayed. And I was like, okay. And this is one, I just bought this, was it this year or maybe the end of last year or something like that? And this came out not this year or the end of last year. Like it was already out for a minute. And I was like, everyone still keeps talking about this setting spray. I need to buy it. I actually bought this when I still had pretty dry skin. I'm a little bit more combo now these days. And I was like, why am I buying a mattifying setting spray? But I was like, because everyone still talks about it. It outlasted its viral moment and I need to have this one. And this is a great setting spray and it definitely is mattifying. When I first started using this, I was actually getting a little confused because I felt like my makeup looked so matte and I was like, is my skin just super dry? It does what it says it's gonna do. We're gonna keep it old school for a little bit longer here. The Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. Again, this was a very popular product. I remember watching like I Love Sarah E way back in the day when she would do a lot of makeup tutorials on YouTube and she was always using the Laura Mercier translucent powder. Fun story, I actually preferred the Secret Brightening Powder first because I remember the days of the really stark white under eye, which I think is making a comeback right now. But that is actually the one that I bought first. But for years now, I've had the Laura Mercier, just the regular translucent powder, and I do still continue to think it's fantastic. And it still continues to be a bestseller from the Laura Mercier brand. The Laura Mercier brand, you know, like I mentioned with Colourpop and with Morphe, those are a little bit newer, well, those are newer brands that I think saw popularity thanks to social media. But I do also think that there are kind of more like pillar brands to the beauty industry that have their audience, they're tried and true, their core that always comes back for more. Laura Mercier is definitely a brand that I would put under that category. And I'd love to know if you have any other brands that you would put under there, because this is where I'm thinking of even some like drugstore brands as well, Maybelline, L'Oreal, Revlon, brands like that. But then you also have brands like Laura Mercier that I do, Bare Minerals, Buxom, that I do think fall under that category as well of they've had their core audience for such a long time and their core customers who continue to stay loyal to them and who continue to buy and repurchase the translucent powder. This comment I thought was very interesting as well. Megan said, I guess the Becca highlighters and under eye correctors must still be popular with some people since Smashbox is still making them. So when Becca Cosmetics closed down, which was really one of the first big beauty brands to close down post-pandemic, and really sent a lot of waves through the beauty industry, the online beauty industry especially, but the beauty industry as a whole, Smashbox actually took some of the best-selling products from Becca, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know exactly how that works, you know, buying the rights to them and making them and all of those things, but then you could buy some of Becca's products under the Smashbox line, and that I thought was really interesting. So that is a great point, especially I know Becca highlighters for sure had the online moments. They had the collab with Jaclyn Hill, which was, you know, Champagne Pop. That was everywhere online for such a long time. But the under eye correctors were spoken about amongst so many people. I feel like online and offline as well. Of course, we have to talk about Urban Decay. Certainly, you know, speaking of brands who have their loyal customers, the Naked palette. Before I even got on beauty YouTube, I knew about the Naked palette. All of my friends had the Naked palette. And then even when I got on YouTube and I would be like getting ready with my friends, I remember one of my friends getting married and, you know, we were all, I was a bridesmaid, we're all like in the bridesmaid suite, like getting ready together. Every single person had the Naked palette out. And I was like, okay. Those have continued to be so popular. We've seen Urban Decay relaunch. You can use words, Samantha. We saw them relaunch the Naked palette and, you know, was still another hit and people were so excited about it. We kind of had this surgence, you know, how like the 90s sitcoms were getting like revamped and we were coming back with, you know, the same cast, but just like older, and it was like a where are they now type of situation. Then we started to see some makeup brands doing that. We saw Urban Decay coming back with the Naked palette and it was like, what year are we in? Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks, wasn't surprised to see this mentioned. This was one I had on my list as well. Charlotte Tilbury, I again feel like is one of those brands that have a lot of loyal customers, a brand that supersedes the online beauty community as well. There's a standalone store for Charlotte Tilbury at the Grove in LA that I typically pop into anytime that I'm there. And Charlotte Tilbury I just think is a popular brand. I think of brands like Charlotte Tilbury, like Pat McGrath. Even nowadays, I feel like Tanessa Myricks, those are some brands that I feel like sometimes there's like little different like umbrellas in the beauty industry, but I do think the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks are still so popular. These two that I grabbed out to show are from the Hot Lips 2 line, and this video continues to be a watched video of mine. Like when I go into my analytics, every few months it's like, oh, this video is getting a lot of views, and it's my Charlotte Tilbury Hot Lips 2 swatches of all of them. And people will comment to say like, oh, do you still like this shade? I tried to buy this shade. I bought this shade. So these, again, it's just speaking of the Hot Lips 2 in general, I feel like these had a viral moment. There was a lot of videos going out about them. People are really excited she was coming out with new shades, but these continue to be very popular, as to me does the Charlotte Tilbury brand in general. I wanted to end it with a brand, and that is Drunk Elephant. Because, okay, Drunk Elephant. When Drunk Elephant launched, which, let me see what year that was. In August of 2013, okay, Masterson quietly launched Drunk Elephant and her 6th product line on the website. Great. So 2013, because I can remember Drunk Elephant coming out. I remember it being a new brand. Everyone was super intrigued. I honestly think the price point had something to do with that. These were very expensive products that we were talking about, from a vitamin C serum to the baby facial to the regular products like the eye cream and the moisturizer. The packaging was unique and a little bit different. And I think at the time around, you know, the 2013 to 2016 era, when brands were coming out with something that was different or unique, there was eyes on them, because we were kind of used to those pillar brands. We were used to seeing the products from Maybelline. We were used to seeing the products from Mercier. You know, we could walk into the drugstore and know what to expect, walk into Ulta, know what to expect, walk into Sephora, know what to expect. But when we have these new and upcoming brands like Colourpop coming out with these circular one eyeshadows and charging $5, people were intrigued because of the price on these in a different way of Drunk Elephant, but there was still intrigue around them, right? So then when Drunk Elephant launches, and they launch in this, you know, kind of just different packaging and this kind of exorbitant price point, people were like, wait a second, what is this brand about? They had a lot of hype. There was so many videos going up, reviewing products, trying products. And then I felt as though Drunk Elephant fell off a little bit, and all of a sudden we've had another resurgence thanks to the very young generation. Now we hear videos and there's topics of discussion of Sephora kids and teenagers and younger than teenagers going into Sephora and buying makeup and having entire skincare routines that include Drunk Elephant. I met someone recently in a professional setting and mentioned what I did as a career, and he said, oh my gosh, I bet my daughter would love your videos. She's 9 years old, but she really loves skincare. And I said, let me guess, Drunk Elephant. And he was like, how did you know? How did you know a 9-year-old loves Drunk Elephant? I was like, I don't know what this is about, but I do think that Drunk Elephant has outlasted its viral moments, and though it's, you know, a newer brand coming out in 2013, it still has a lot of success today, and some of that can also be correlated to social media and to Sephora kids. I would love to get your thoughts on these products that I think have outlasted their viral moments. Also, which ones did I miss? Leave those in the comments. If you like a little bit more chatty videos, I mentioned starting a low buy. I have a whole video on the low buy trend, and if it's a trend or an actual lifestyle change, if you want to watch that one next, I would highly recommend checking it out. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.